Hello, and welcome to another episode of More D&I Discussions, a series of conversations with C-suite executives who share their candid insight into many of the important aspects of creating and advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion principles and practices in their organizations. I am Marlon Moore, president of Marlon Moore Consulting, and thank you for joining us. Today, I am so happy, so pleased to be joined by Tanny Crane, President and CEO of Crane Group. Crane Group is now a 76-year-old, just celebrated 75 years, so happy anniversary, privately held, diversified portfolio company, comprised of 3 operating businesses, as well as an investment company that holds real estate, private equity investments, equity bonds portfolio, and hedge funds. Tanny joined Crane in 1987 as the Director of Human Resources. However, demonstrating hard work, perseverance, and resilience, she moved on to lead the sales group, became the President of Crane Plastics in 1996, and President of Crane Group in 2003. While Tanny is dedicated to Crane Group, she is equally committed to the community. She's active as a board trustee for numerous organizations, including but not limited to Huntington Bankshares, Reeve Avenue Center, the Columbus Partnership, and the Ohio State University Foundation. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome Tanny Crane to More DEI Discussions. Welcome, Tanny. How are you?
I'm great, Marlon. Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure to start the year speaking with you.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I shared a little bit about Crane Group in your intro and bio, but how about you just tell the audience a little bit more about Crane Group and why diversity, equity, and inclusion is important to the organization and to you?
Well, thanks, Marlon. I do have to update. We are, as you had mentioned, we're a portfolio business, 76 years. And in December, we just acquired our 4th portfolio business. So that's
congratulations.
Thank you. And simply put, we invest in people and business and in good. And we work hard to work with our partners, investing in quality companies and help them provide the highest quality services or products for their clients or customers. And the reason we got into DEI is simple. After the murder of George Floyd, I think as a nation, we all stepped up and said, we all play a role here. And as a company, as people, and as a community, we need to make change. And so we looked inside ourselves first and said, what are we doing currently? And then where do we need to go? And the first thing was education, just in terms of educating ourselves and then making changes. So I think, simply put, to answer your question, it was that event that, realistically opened our eyes to a series of challenges in our nation that we needed to address.
So the George Floyd murder really sparked and motivated you all to look internally to see what you can do as an organization. I want to pull up something really quick that is public on your website, cranegroup.com. It's a statement from you, Tanny, that reads, if everyone is at the table, if everyone is a part of the conversation, if everyone has a good job, we are stronger together. We are more creative and we are more prosperous. I read the statement, but just give us a sense of why put that out there. What is this? What does that statement really mean to you? What does that evoke in you, Tanny?
I do give the Columbus Partnership some credit for this as well. We've had a series of consultants come in and really educate on innovation in our community, on what quality jobs, what talent development, quality jobs, and growth in equity means. And it can mean, if we have racial equity, it's like a $10 billion growth every year. It's like we call it an Intel investment every year. Wow. If we got to that level, that's where we could be as a community. So, I mean, if everyone had a quality job, had access for equity, look what a better community we would be. So it is within our scope. And so that's where the kind of sense of urgency of we can make that happen. And Columbus is the kind of community where if everyone's at the table, if we lean in and if everybody plays a role, and I know it's a little bit rose-colored glasses, but I think Columbus is the kind of community that can make that change. It's not overnight, but that's why we believe so fervently, and it's part of our education of the past. We can't move forward unless we truly understand what has happened the past 400 plus years, and then apply that knowledge to the business of eradicating it, of eliminating it in our vocabulary, in our words, and our deeds, and everything we do. So,
wow, that's powerful. I mean, oftentimes we hear D&I is the right thing to do, but you're taking it a step further and saying this is great for our community. This is how we ensure generational wealth. This is how we ensure equity for everyone. This is how we all thrive as a community by embracing this word.
Well, the data shows us that innovation, that we are a better company. We perform better if we're more inclusive. There are more people at the table, more diversity of thought, more diversity of opinion, and every company will perform better when we have that diversity at the table. And you look at innovation data, it all supports that information. So it's an economic development equation.
That's right.
And it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, a lot of companies will call D&I a program or call this an initiative. You all have created strategic objectives for this work, which suggests you're integrating this into your entire business operation. So if I understand correctly, you all have 5 strategic objectives: workforce, supplier diversity, community, investment diversity, and education. Why did you all select those 5 areas to kind of focus on?
Well, it was important for us to be holistic. And as you said, this is not a project or initiative for us and for many others. This is a journey. So this goes over years, and we'll never get there. But it has to be a part of every part of our business. So from the suppliers to the way we're recruiting, we're hiring, retaining our associates, and being an inclusive employer. But it also has to transform in terms of education, like every day, every week. How are we educating ourselves, becoming better people for it, and working together? But it also includes our investments. If we're not willing to invest differently, then how are we going to help with the racial equity disparity? So, we have looked at our investment portfolio. Who are our investment managers, and who are we investing in? And in what types of areas? So we have chosen for right now affordable housing and reducing the racial equity gap. So we're very prescribed in terms of where we're investing our dollars through philanthropy and through our Crane investment company portfolio. So it has to be woven throughout everything we do.
I love the fact that you all have taken an educational approach. Awareness is important. We don't know what we don't know. So let's educate our team members. Let's ensure retention of our workforce. Let's recruit diversity. Let's look at our suppliers. What are we spending? How can we ensure that we impact economic inclusion? But what I really enjoy about what you said, Tanny, especially as we think about generational wealth, is how you all make investments.
We look around, and we have many role models out there in the community that are doing great work. And so we're trying to, again, practice what we preach. We can't learn about it, be educated, and then not follow through. in all aspects of our business.
That's phenomenal. So as you all kind of started the journey and you continue the journey, you've learned lessons along the way. And the best practice in this work is establishing an internal advisory council to help move the needle. It's phenomenal that you all have a statement on your website and a whole, link devoted to DEI, but you got to do the work. And so, how effective is your internal advisory council? How effective has it been in helping you all sustain your progress?
I think that is why our journey continues and continues successfully, is because we have a council, because it's our people here, it's our colleagues who are continuing the development. It can't just be me. It can't just be a few at an executive committee. It can't be top down, but it has to be bottom up, top down. It has to be throughout the organization. So this council has accountability, and they represent, I think, every function of our company. They represent the heads of each of our 5 pillars, and they get together routinely to review where we are, what are our goals for the year, what progress we're making, what are our obstacles, how can we get rid of those obstacles, and what do we need to do to move forward. And we also have an annual report that's just coming out for the first time. It's actually joyful to see this council develop their own goals, their own personality, and move it forward. And they are holistically bringing others on board. So in each of our committees, I think almost every member in our organization are involved in some form or fashion on our committees, because I really believe the only way it continues to gain ground and continue that momentum is because our associates, because they have the best ideas.
Sure.
They're the ones that are coming up with videos, with opportunities for education, or places to visit, and cultural observations and personal experiences, and their own testimonials. So they're the ones that keep us going.
Wow, that's excellent. You mentioned a key word in all of this is accountability. Accountability. And to make sure that the entire organization is bought in, it sounds like your advisory council has been a very strong resource for ensuring accountability, not just at the top, like you mentioned, but throughout the entire organization.
Yeah. So, for example, every one of our managers understands our supplier diversity opportunities, and so it is now, we've had a little over a year under our belt. So starting this year, all new suppliers fill out a form. I mean, they go through. They all now have expectations in terms
Sure.
of any new supplier coming in. So just that alone, Marlon, has changed our whole process.
Wow.
Just the manager knowing that every time they think about a new supplier, there's a form to fill out, there's goals that we have to attain, and there's just more that goes into it than someone or it was recommended, or it's the easiest to go online. It takes that additional step, but the quality of our suppliers has been enriched because of it, and that our managers see it. And that we have gotten help from the outside of bringing forward to us lists of very capable suppliers that we would have never heard of if we hadn't gone that extra step, asked the extra question. And now the managers are feeling more empowered, that they're saying, well, okay, now I'm accountable, and I know it, in terms of my goals of what I need to do. And that then really fosters excitement and a sense of accomplishment, in terms of not only at first there was, I would say, questioning and wondering why we're doing it. A year later, now that they've seen our quality has risen, then it's I get it, I'm on board. And it's the same with our workforce council. We've seen tremendous results in terms of where we're recruiting, our pool of candidates, It used to be a stretch, and now it's not even questioned by any of our executive search firms or any of our folks. And if we get down to a smaller slate and there's not diverse candidates, let's go back. And
Right.
in every case, we've had a higher level of quality candidates. And so now, again, that the questioning is less often. And it's becoming more of a routine, because we're seeing the results of not just the quality of candidates, but the culture here. Culture here is so much stronger. So in every one of our pillars, they're holding themselves accountable. I don't have to do anything about that anymore. That's what they do.
That's right. Wow. So let me throw something out at you really quick. Two myths. Well, myths to me, and I would imagine to you all as well. From a supplier perspective, well, wait a minute, Tanny, you want me to use somebody different versus the company I've always used? Will the quality be just as good? So parking lot that. Then the second one is, Tanny, you want me to hire someone who's diverse, but I can't find someone who's diverse. How would you respond to both those statements that continue to permeate this work?
Oh, they came up here. But just asking people, providing people with some resources, some tools, both on the supplier side as well as on the hiring side, providing tools, and then again going through the education of the why it's important, and then getting that first win.
Great point.
And then if making sure privacy is not an issue, but then providing those testimonials of what our organization looks like. I'll go back to supplier. We used with our 75th anniversary celebration, in all aspects of it, in every aspect of it, we said we want diverse suppliers, and we had the most all year round tremendous success because of that. And I can't speak more highly of the professionals that we worked with, and that expanded our horizons in terms of what can be. And on the hiring front, the quality, as I said before, the quality of our candidates, sure, it's harder work sometimes. And when we have to spend more time, the end result is worth it. Sometimes we say we have to have someone right now, but we've just pushed back and said, at the end of the day, the higher quality candidate is going to be with us longer, and we'll have more success, and it will enrich our culture here. And that's what's happened. Now, along the way, sure, we'll have some setbacks, but we know we're on the journey, and I'll keep reinforcing the word journey, because we can't say 1 year we did a great job, pat on the back,
right,
and then just expect it to continue. It's work every day, and that's why our councils are active and will continue to be active. It's on each one of our performance reviews.
Wow.
So we're incorporating it from the day someone walks in the door, or while we're recruiting them, and as you said, our webpage, as well as our performance reviews. So it just is reinforced in every aspect of our lives here.
That's excellent. What I've seen, and enough companies don't do this for various reasons, are celebrate their wins, talk up progress, things they're proud of. So Tanny Crane and the Crane Group, what would you say? And again, it's a journey, so there are going to be more wins, but what would you say is your proudest achievement today in promoting DEI?
Marlon, that's a tough one. I'd have to say the immersion of our colleagues into this work. I really believe watching colleagues, some who've surprised me, step up. Some who haven't been really involved in a lot of efforts have allowed their voices to be heard. I think that's, to me, that just makes me the proudest, because more voices are around all the tables here at the company now. And I see us volunteering in the community in a different way. You know, I see us through the hiring process, people coming together, and again, not me, others saying, go back to the table. The voices that I haven't heard before are stepping up, taking responsibility, and really understanding the why.
Sure.
And it's inside now. It's inside them, and that makes me truly excited for the future and where we're going.
That's really great to hear, because there's data to suggest that the more colleagues or associates feel included and a sense of belonging, retention goes up, morale goes up, productivity goes up, innovation goes up, and all of that ultimately affects the performance of the organization. So that's really exciting. That's really exciting to hear.
Yeah, and we have an employee engagement survey every year. Okay. And we've seen those scores tick up. And we ask the questions about DEI, and do they feel like their voice is heard? Do they feel included? And importantly, do they feel along, not just when they get hired, but are they being mentored or sponsored? Are they feeling like someone cares about them because of who they are? And again, that's a continuous process as well, but I really do believe that impacts our engagement scores.
Absolutely.
So that's, each one of those sub scores are improving as well.
That's phenomenal. Great job. Okay, so this has been exciting and a lot of good stuff. I want to get to a tough question here before we wrap up. And I know I'm not asking this and having you speak for all companies here, but I'm just telling you my work. I oftentimes hear a lot of companies say there's still a lot more to do. And I recognize that there is, as you mentioned several times, this is a journey, okay? But in your opinion, what is there left to do, and how do we move things along a little faster?
Yeah, Marlon, there's so much to do. I am the eternal optimist. My glass is always overflowing. There's a lot to do in our community. And so I think it continues to be one step at a time, but we do need to accelerate it. I do get concerned that as a society, we're sometimes short-term oriented. And while the murder of George Floyd in 2020, it brought the attention to all of us, memories fade and we go back to the way things were. This continues to be an opportunity that can make an enormous difference in this community from an economic development standpoint and from an equity standpoint. So I've seen remarkable progress. Again, I'll speak to the Columbus Partnership of asking companies to step up, look at their hiring, because everyone can make a difference. And then together we can make an enormous difference. So really looking inside our own companies and what can we do to make a difference there. So I think that we need to keep pushing the needle, keep having difficult conversations, keep listening to our diverse community leaders out there, because they, and really understand there's so much that's going on in the trenches out in the community, and we need to be supportive of the great work that's already being done, but how can we accelerate their growth as well? So there, I think we need to move on a lot of different areas, but we each of us needs to take ownership of what we can do to make a difference. And then I think we need to also step up and kind of provide our own experience and welcome others to share theirs. And we've gone to other companies and asked for their help. Getting us started, we've gone to consultants like Marlon Moore and asked for help. I think companies need to be willing to ask for help. And then those companies are further along the journey need to reach out and lift others up and pull others along.
Wow, that's very well stated. And I've enjoyed working with your organization. Really appreciate the honor to work with the organization and to work with you, Tanny. We talk about diversity starts at the top, and it does. But I'll be honest, every organizational leader, every president and CEO may not demonstrate the consistency that I've seen you do over a period of times on a number of levels. And so I just want to thank you for the work that you do within Crane Group, but also within the community, because it's made a significant difference. You've just done so much. So what parting advice do you want to leave to organizational leaders, and maybe not just the CEO, but one or two levels down? What advice would you leave them for doing more in this space?
Invest the time and know that each individual can make a difference. Don't give up. Don't let it go. Keep on that track of the journey. Be willing to have difficult conversations, but in a productive way. We'll never move our community forward if we can't, all of us, have conversations that can lead to positive change. But I agree with you, Marlon. I think we need to accelerate this, because not that we don't have time, but we don't have time. We don't want to lose another generation. There are some just exceptional people in our community that deserve opportunities. And we know that the end result from an economic development standpoint is tremendous. So we need to really roll up our sleeves together, link arms, and say, we can make this happen. And we all have that competitive spirit. I always use Columbus is distinctly different. And we have an ability to come together and make it happen. This is our opportunity to be number one, because we do come together.
Tanny, thank you so much for what you do for the Crane Group and all of your associates. Thank you so much for what you do for the city of Columbus. Thank you for your willingness to participate in today's discussion and be a change agent for this work. So I wish you all another successful 76 years.
There you go.
And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Marlon Moore Consulting is a diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy development firm, helping organizations build their diversity strategy by providing them with resources to support their execution. For more information, visit marlonmoore.com. And remember, diversity starts with you.